Herm Edwards, who has been a frequent guest of the Doug and Wolf Show for years as an ESPN football analyst, now has to come to the sad realization of what the two of us look like. I'm sorry, Herm. Do you feel a massive letdown in seeing what's happened to Wolf over the years?
I'm impressed. I mean, he old fullback. He's still in one piece. Walks around pretty good. He's doing good.
Good.
Hey, on that note right there, Herm, are we going to use a fullback? ASU. We're going to use this fullback possibly?
We could.
Could be coming back, right, Coach?
You might see the quarterback under center every once in a while. Wouldn't that be like?
Are you allowed to do that in college football?
Yeah, you're allowed to do it. You're allowed to actually throw it to the running back, too.
How you doing, Herm?
I'm doing great.
Yeah? You settling in nicely?
Yeah. Obviously it was a whirlwind when you first you get hired, but I think the great thing about it is the institution that I'm working for now has great support staff. Whether it's things you need as a head coach outside of the coaching realm of it, but more important, I think the staff that I hired. When you look at those guys and you go down the line, 3 of them have been former head coaches. Defensive coordinator Danny Gonzalez, I think, is a star rising. I mean, he's been in this business over 20 years, so a lot of knowledge on your staff. Not so much, the X's and O's of football, but more of the landmines that you deal with as a coach, and that's a big part of it is recruiting, obviously, and the different areas that you have to visit. But these guys are well informed. That helped me get my feet on the ground and go. So we went after it pretty hard for 3 weeks.
Tell me about recruiting in the sense of, as you went through 2018 recruiting, what did you do, and then what do you already know? Okay, I'm going to do differently next year.
Well, I think the first thing we did, we made ourselves available in this state. We visited 80 high schools as a staff. We made sure that these high school coaches know we'd like to get some of the better athletes to stay home, and this could be their dream school rather than to go somewhere else. Then we flooded California. We went 7 deep to a lot of the predominant high schools, and they were impressed. They said, Coach, Arizona State hadn't been in California in a year or so. It's good to see you back. So you can tell by the guys we actually signed. There's 13 kids coming out of California this year, which is good.
You got to do well there, don't you?
If you're gonna win the Pac-12 championship, you look at all the players that that are in this conference out of California. It makes a lot of sense. If you could just recruit Arizona and California and Nevada, you could get a crux of your players there. I mean, think the quarterback, obviously, it's a nationwide search for quarterbacks. But other than that, I mean, you could just deal with those 3 states, and really 90% of your team could be those athletes, and I think you'd fare pretty good.
Herm, have you enjoyed the recruiting process?
Every bit of it.
Really?
Yeah.
I got to tell you, as a former player, I got to tell you, Coach, I would so dislike walking into an 18-year-old's living room and just kind of kissing his butt, if you know what I mean, right?
It's not that. I mean, you say that, but it's not that so much. It's really talking to the parents and find, every home is different. And you learn that when you walk into some of these homes. A lot of these homes were the similar home that I grew up in the fact that I was going to be the first kid in their lineage to go to college and earn a scholarship. That's powerful. That's a powerful thing when you sit there with mom and dad, and you see them teary-eyed, worried about their son leaving them, and I think the comfort of explaining to what he was going to be equipped to have once he left this university is very powerful. When you think about 87% of our athletes graduate, a lot of them in their junior years are working on their master's degrees. If he has football talent, we are running a pro model of how we do things as an organization. It starts with Dr. Crow and Ray Anderson is modeled that way in a pro sense. So you'll be equipped as far as what to do offensively and defensively, how to play at that level if you're talented enough. But I think the most surprising thing is that the graduation rate of student athletes at Arizona State is phenomenal.
You had said a magic word that we've only heard from Nick Saban and the Alabama group, and that is organization. Everybody says program, and yet what does he do? He runs the team as if he is the CEO and coach and in charge of everything, like he's an NFL president. He just happens to be the coach too. And that was the talk of your hiring and at your opening press conference, that this is going to be an NFL model. So with you saying the word organization, I ask, how did recruiting period number 1 go within this NFL model? How did it work? Did you butt heads? Did you work through it? How did the process go?
Well, it was simple, really a simple process. First of all, identify our DNA. And I think for anyone to have success when it comes to whether you scouted players, that I did in the past when I first came in the league, I was actually a scout. People don't realize that. I was a pro scout when I entered the league.
After your playing days?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I knew that.
With Kansas City.
Yeah.
I was at San Jose State for 3 years. People forget that one, too. Well, he coached at San Jose State. Yeah, I did coach college football, by the way, and I did recruit athletes. So it's not like, ooh, he never – stop. I've done all that. And then got into pro football, and it's kind of interesting. We always identified our DNA, what type of players we wanted, and as you guys know, we use colors. It was a rare player, was a black player. A blue player was a Pro Bowl player. A red player was a development player. So we've kind of set our standards in that model, and then we went with the DNA of the position. Height, weight, speed had a lot to do with it. FBI, football intelligence, all those things, competition. We really sat together as a staff. It's the first time they've ever done this, where we actually, when we view a player, the whole staff is in there viewing the player, every coach. So let's just say you're the running back coach, and there's a wide receiver in your area. Well, the expertise of the wide receiver coach stands up and says, this is the traits I like about this guy. So you learn as a running back coach what we're looking for as a wide receiver. Same with the defensive line. So we sit in there, every day.
But that's still your geographic area to be recruited.
Yeah, but you still recruit the area, but you got to know the DNA of what the wide receiver coach likes as a wide receiver in your area. So that fits our DNA now. So, every day we're going to have a staff meeting on recruiting, at least a 2-hour session where we actually put the tape on and we go, here we go. The defensive backs are up right now. The defensive coordinator, secondary coach, they talk about it. The rest of the coaches sit there, take notes. We understand the DNA. We start evaluating these guys. Are we going to offer them? We're already looking at the 19s and 20s, by the way. So we're doing this every day as a staff, as we continue to try to develop the program.
Herm, has the reality of the job fit your expectation? Has anything surprised you about it?
The recruiting part that is so in depth now. It's like professional football, to be quite honest. I mean, these kids are, like I said, we're into the 219s and the 220s. Well, that's pro football. Pro football, you as a scout, you went in there and said, okay, this is a senior class, but I'm looking at the juniors and the sophomores. But the thing that was really odd for me is after the recruitment and after the guys signed on, they signed twice. The early signing, which I thought hurt JCs. It killed JC football. It just killed them. Because now, if you're recruiting a JC guy along with a high school guy, you go light on the JC guys, because if he plays the same position, the high school kid's going to say, you just signed a JC guy, I'm not going there. So JCs got shut out. A lot of the JCs, the coaches I've spoken to, say, hey, coach, that was a bad deal.
Awful.
Well, that's what I'm just saying. This is what happens. And, when they implemented the plan, they don't think it all the way through. So it helped us because we actually signed 4 or 5 JC guys, really good players. But as a JC player, that early signing date affected them too. No one says that, but I'm going to say it. Because,
fantastic point, because that affects locally. You know how many local JCs
That's what I'm
are,
saying.
Yeah.
When I went to JC, after I left Cal, I went to JC. I get it. I'm involved in JCs. I'm in the Hall of Fame of JCs. You kidding me?
I was the worst head coach in the history of junior college.
But I'm just saying.
Just so you know.
No, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of moving parts. I thought when we arrived, we already had 10 players that we had committed to. So I wasn't going to back out of the scholarships as a new head coach. We committed to those guys. We were able to get those guys. So basically in 3 weeks, we had 11 guys. Our new coaching staff has said, okay, these are the 11 now we're going to target, because we only got 11 scholarships.
Yeah.
And we're able to sign some pretty good players.
How much recruiting have you done of players that are already Arizona State Sun Devils, the guys that are here now? Do you just say, hey, I'm the coach, I'll talk to you later because I got to go recruit other people? Or have you spent a lot of time recruiting your own players to be happy as Sun Devils?
Well, I go to the workouts. I'm in the locker room. I'm everywhere. There's two kind of guys that lead in life. The ones that lead with their seat or the ones that lead by their feet. I'm the feet guy. I'm always around. I'm everywhere. I don't just sit in my office. I'm not one of those coaches sit in the office and go to practice. I don't do that. I'm out of my office. I hate that office. I don't like offices. I told the players, I said, hey, you're going to see me in the locker room. If I'm sitting in your locker, don't get scared. You're not in trouble. I'm just sitting in the locker room with the fellas. I'm in the weight room. I'm going to go watch them work out. My policy is an open door policy. My door is never closed. And it's amazing how many players have matriculated into my office just for a little coach time. And you learn a lot about players when they sit across from you. Amen. And you have a conversation with them. And so they feel very comfortable approaching me, knowing that I'm an approachable kind of guy. I always told players, look, the head coach is the title, but I think like a player. I've always thought like a player. I think when you do that, you stay ahead of the game.
Do you believe it's your job to motivate kids?
I think it's my job to not allow them to waste their talent. That's what the coach's job is. The coach, I've never seen a coach give any player talent. God gives them their talent. I always tell them, I'm not going to allow you to waste it. That's because that's my job. I'm going to put you in a position where you can have success, but you're going to have to learn how to compete. We had a little team meeting today, and I think it shocked a lot of guys.
Why, Herm?
Well, because of what I told them. And I told them this. I said, in college football, I said, what I've learned is that you dress 125 guys, 110 guys. I said, we're going to Camp Cush. That's what I call it Camp Cush, and they take all these guys up there. I said, in the world I lived in, only 46 guys dressed.
Yeah, right.
And three of them, one of them was a kicker, a punter, and a long snapper. So only 43 guys dressed, 21 guys on defense. I said, I don't live in this world. I said, for you to dress and put a uniform on for the Arizona State football team, you got to earn it. It's going to be earned. And you have to know this. It's going to be earned. And we probably won't have 100 guys dressing anymore. They're going to compete.
I love that. You know what? I love that.
They're going to compete. I don't care if you're on scholarship. You got to compete because in the real world, if you're not a pro football player and you leave this university and you're not a pro football player, and even if you're a pro football player, you have to compete every day. And if you're going to have a competitive team, the competition is within. And so I've always been that way. I always thought that way. And I told him this. I said, look, basically going to Camp Cush right now in spring ball to determine if the number changes, we're only taking 88 guys. That's it.
Love that.
During the course of the season right now, I said there's only going to be 80 guys to dress. You're going to earn it now. And I told him this. That's how you earn it. It's real simple. Off-season workouts, spring ball. On Sunday, the guys that do not play a game, they play 30 plays. That's how you develop players on Sunday. They're going to play 30 plays. And all the guys that play and they're dressed, they're going to stand on the sideline, they're going to cheer them on, and the coaches are going to coach them, and they're going to play. That's how you develop players. It's about developing guys. You have to develop these freshman kids when they come out of high school. Well, if they don't play, how do you develop them? Because they're not going to play during the week. Right. So they got to play in the game. Well, on Sunday, that's their game. They get to play and develop. So that's what we're trying to do. That's the pro system. That's the model that I grew up in. And I think it's fair for the players. It's because now they get to compete. Look, you know this. When you're the practice player, all you do is practice the other team's plays.
Yeah, card head.
Right? You're the card guy.
I'm the card guy.
Not anymore.
I was the king of the card.
You're going to learn our offense and our defense. And on Sunday, if you don't play in the game, you're going to play 30 snaps. So you got a chance to improve. That's how you develop players, in my opinion.
Love it.
That's what we're going to do.
That's different. All right, Herm. Now this is the question where it's now up to you. This isn't really a question. Okay. You're staring at a room full of all 300,000 some odd Arizona State Sun Devil fans right now. And what do you want them to know? What do you want them to know about ASU football?
Come watch it because it's going to be different. I think the caliber of players that we're going to try to recruit, we're going to look different. Defensively, we're going to play a lot different. Offensively, it'll change some too. I'm not going to give out secrets. I just think you just got to come out and watch us play. We will play with an attitude. We will play with an attitude. when those players walk out of that tunnel and they walk by Tillman, the statue there, they'll have passion. That they will play the game correctly. They will honor the uniform. They will honor the fans that walk into that stadium. Whatever they have in them, they will leave it on the field. I can promise you that.
98.7 FM, Arizona's sports station.